Great. Where's he at now? Asleep.
The hardest part is whether anybody's going to believe. A lot of people don't honestly believe what happened. Sean, he was very much a master manipulator. He could convince anybody of anything he wanted to convince them of.
Is there any way you can get out of the building? I don't know without waking him, and I'm scared.
I didn't know he had killed anybody. I had no clue. But I had helped clean up, his crime scene. Just the overall thought of helping clean it up was... That really does bother me a lot.
Can you get up and get out? Oh, I won't come up. Hurry.
We were together almost 6 years. I knew something was off. He wasn't completely normal, but I never expected murder. At times, I do really feel like I should have known more. I should have been able to recognize more. I know I'm lucky. I know I got away. I know I survived, and I know I'm lucky to have survived. Knowing what I know of Sean, I know even in hiding, I'm really not safe. Sean needs to be punished for what he's done, for everything he's done to anybody and everybody. Sean needs to die. That is the very first picture of Sean and I. It's actually one of the better pictures. Not very many of me and him. It was in the very beginning, in the happy part of everything. The Sean that I actually loved is still here. He hasn't quite changed into the Sean I didn't like. It's a happy time, but it's all a lie. It's the start of almost 6 very bad years. It's almost the beginning of hell. When this picture was taken, I didn't know, but he had already committed, at least the one murder. When I first met Sean, I was in the process of divorcing my husband, moving here, me and the kids. It's a way to change things, a way to improve all of our lives. I moved to Ohio April 13th. I met Sean April 15th, to be exact, of 2005. My stepsister introduced us.
So, tell me about yourself. What should I know about Sean Gray?
Sean was very handsome, very quiet, very laid back. It was almost captivating. He just had a way of making you feel like you were the only one, that you were the only person that meant anything at all to him. And there was just something about that feeling that he would give that really was intriguing. In the first year, Sean and I were very happy. But even though I loved Sean, I really didn't know much at all about him. Sean and we would always take off and just go places, and nowhere in particular in general, wherever, just somewhere and just kind of hang out. And it was quiet, peaceful. Sean and I talked a lot, but to think about it, we never really actually talked about anything.
Why do I still feel like I don't know anything about you?
In the beginning, it seemed like his answers were vague. I asked Sean a lot of times about his childhood, his life in general. Sean was extremely closed off with no information. As things progressed, during that first year even, any subject of the family, he would avoid any direct answer.
Christina, why are you asking me these things?
What?
I'd never met his mother, never met his father, brother or sister, anything. Never really said much other than, oh, well, Mom and I don't get along very well. Dad's new wife don't like me. They're too busy, was kind of the response.
What? I'm just trying to make conversation.
I don't want to talk about it. Let it go.
Family, life, everything.
Sean, wait.
But I thought eventually he would share the information in his own way. I never saw anything saying that, Sean was a murderer. I just think he was really good at hiding things. About, probably 3 to 6 months after this, his mom suddenly appears. Somehow it comes up in conversation about how he is, his moods, his changes.
You said you needed to tell me something in person?
She kind of rambles off about when he was younger, he had issues and asked for help.
I'm not sure what you mean.
She didn't go into detail. She wouldn't elaborate much further. Once she's not at the house, try to get him to tell me something.
What was your mom talking about?
He proceeds to tell me, well, when I was 10, 11 years old, I was bothered. Things just weren't right. I've got issues, I've got problems, and I asked Mom to get me help. His mom's response was, go to church, you'll feel better. Everything with her is religious-based. God can fix anything and everything. Go to church, you'll be fine. That was about the extent of the conversation. That and him telling me he broke his arm was pretty much all I knew of his childhood. If I was to ask Sean a question and the answer was something he really didn't want me to know, or it was something he didn't want to talk about, he would just overall avoid it in general. Sean and I were sitting at the house, and he starts discussing past girlfriends. He discusses traveling down an older country road. He has a pregnant girlfriend in the car. They kind of end up in some type of argument.
Turn the car around. No. Turn it around.
He becomes angry.
I'm not doing what you tell me to.
She was the one driving. He just reached over. He grabs the steering wheel, and they end up out in the middle of a field. He calls her to wreck the car. She's injured. He doesn't give any real extent to detail, the amount of injury, but she's injured.
Oh my God. She could have been killed.
He was letting me know they argued, she disagreed, and as a warning, you leave, you get hurt. But to look at Sean and talk to Sean and so forth, you didn't see a murderer. There was a lot of marks, oddball, odd-size spots. I would have never thought that there was any chance that that was somebody's blood. Sean and I dated a little over a year before we moved in together. At one point, I was looking for a house for me and my kids. Sean made himself a part of this. At this point in time, I didn't know what he was capable of. Before we moved in, he'd actually committed murder. Sean was living in his dad's house by himself. He, said that he was remodeling the home, that his dad was going to try to sell it, and his dad gave him a place to stay if he would fix the house. He was redoing floors, he was painting. It was almost a complete remodel inside. It had been a couple weeks since I'd been over at the house. He had already done the dining room.
Sean, are you home?
When I did go back, he was re-spackling, repainting.
Sean, didn't you hear me calling you?
No, I'm sorry.
I was actually a little confused. It's like, second time in 2 weeks you're painting the dining room.
Didn't you just paint this like a week ago?
Sean was a little off. He was a little distant. He never really gave a direct answer.
Yeah, well, my dad didn't like it, so...
And he mentioned he needed to clean the kitchen floor, clean the grout, clean the wall.
As long as you're here, you might as well help out.
So I helped Sean clean the grout. There was a lot of odd-sized spots. Looked like rust in the grout. I would have never thought that there was any chance that that was the blood of anybody. There was a spot I'd worked on, and for the most part, it was gone. But there was a tiny little spot over on the edge that I couldn't get off. And he just seemed a little upset that, I couldn't get that off there.
It's not coming out. What is this stuff?
Doesn't matter. Just get it out.
He was different. There was just something different. In all reality, I had helped clean up, his crime scene. I helped clean up the mess he made with her. Lowry, that's the first girl Sean murdered. His actual first victim that anybody actually knows of. She was like a magazine salesman, I guess, something. He killed Dana over some magazine subscription his mother ordered, but was never getting the magazine. This is the girl that I cleaned up off the kitchen floor, basically. For him to do that. If he can kill her over a magazine, what's he gonna do to somebody else? At the time, I felt like long-term relationship with Sean would be a good thing. I very much loved Sean. The idea of him not being around, that was almost devastating. One day, Sean calls me and he tells me he has a surprise at the house for me. In the dining room, there's a box with a ring in it. That's your engagement ring. He says, we may never actually get married, but we would be engaged forever.
Is this for me?
That's right.
Oh my god. Sean, this is gorgeous.
He proceeds to tell me the ring had been his mom's. It was a very large ring. He tells me, take the ring, get it sized. I should be extremely happy, but at the same time, I'm actually quite confused. His mom's, she wasn't a big woman. I didn't see her having fingers that big. Him and his mom, they don't have a close relationship. So to figure out why she would give him a ring that looked like that, it kind of didn't make sense. I knew for a fact it wasn't his mom's.
Sean,
Hey, what's up?
I want to ask you something.
After I'd had the ring sized, I'd been wearing the ring, say probably 6 months.
Where'd you get this ring?
I told you I got it from my mom.
Tell me the truth.
The questions of where he got it wouldn't leave me alone, and I asked about it often.
Stop lying to me, Sean. I know this isn't her ring. Tell me where you got it.
Eventually, Sean breaks down, proceeds to tell me the ring came from a burglary he had committed when he was younger.
You proposed to me with a stolen engagement ring?
I was originally very angry. Find out much later on the ring belonged to the first girl he had killed. I was honestly sickened. It was a sickening feeling. I think I might have been going to cook something, and in the entire house, I couldn't find a single knife. I checked kitchen drawers, I checked the cabinets, shelves, pantry. Every knife in the house was gone. Where are they? Sean came home. I asked him where all of our kitchen knives had gone.
Hey, do you know where all the kitchen knives are?
What? Why would you ask me that?
Sean became very agitated and defensive. I didn't understand why.
It's just strange that all of them are gone.
So I'm a liar.
What? No, I just meant...
It wasn't supposed to turn into a fight.
You're saying that I'm lying.
No. Calm down.
But Sean put his hands on me, kind of shoved me, told me shut up, flipped me over the couch. I didn't know what to think. I was mad. I wanted him to leave. I told him, if he wanted to be like that, then he needed to just go.
Christina, I'm so sorry.
At that point, he'd went from extremely angry to extremely apologetic. I mean, it was almost like a light switch.
I didn't mean to push you that hard.
He gave me 50 million apologies under the sun. He maybe just had a bad day and didn't mean to push me that hard. It was an accident. It's not going to happen again. I loved Sean so much. I had myself at that point convinced it was an accident. He didn't mean to shove me that hard. I never did find knives. Ended up having to buy new ones. I believe he threw them away. They were like a mental reminder to him of what he had done to her, the first girl he'd killed. I'm Sean's prisoner. I'm stuck there. I can't leave. I can't go anywhere. I can't call anybody. That entire time was basically a living hell. As time went on, Sean went from being a very happy, intriguing, motivated person to odd, paranoid, completely stay at the house. He just kind of was not the person he'd been the whole year before. This one time, middle of the night, Sean proceeds to wake me up and he's kind of disturbed, maybe even panicked. He hears people outside.
Christina, wake up.
He said, there's people right outside the window.
Christina, wake up.
What's wrong? What time is it?
I said, why do you think there's somebody out there? He says, well, look up there, look up there.
They're right outside.
There's light above the curtains in the window. He proceeds to see shadows in the lights. It's the shadows of people walking. It's the shadows of people at the window. They're just stalking our bedroom window. They're trying to see what I'm doing. They're listening.
There's no one outside.
I'm a little annoyed, a little agitated. I said, there's nobody out there. I said, that's just the wind blowing the trees.
I think they can hear us.
But won't go to sleep. He won't stop. When Sean's paranoia began, I figured it was he sat at the house and did nothing all day. I kind of determined it might have been depression, but the longer we were together, the more frequent the paranoia became. What's the real story here? Was it honestly just the guilt of what he'd originally done? Was it creeping in, making him, obsess, wonder, they're coming to get him, they figured it out? As Sean gradually got even more different, it wasn't just paranoia. He controlled what we did, where we went, who we talked to. I'd either make plans with the kids or a friend, my sister.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm going to work.
Why are you dressed up?
And 50 million reasons would come up as to why I can't go.
I'm going to meet up with Emily after.
No, you're not.
If I went, then after coming home, there was an argument. There would be, him throwing these fits.
I'll see you when I get home.
Couldn't have people over. My mom couldn't come over. My dad couldn't come over. My sister wasn't allowed there. He didn't have any real friends.
Oh my God.
I thought I told you to come home after work.
What?
If somebody knocked on the door, he'd answer, "Oh no, we're busy," or whatever.
From now.
It was a whole new aspect of Sean. The only time I was allowed to leave the house by myself was to go to work. He'd walk me to the car in the morning, and he'd be waiting pretty much when I got home to walk me back in the house. I think Sean let me go to work basically to pay the bills, but even with that, he still wasn't happy. He wanted me home, so it kind of became a battle. Sean unplugs the clock. That way I don't have the alarm to wake up. The phone gets turned off, takes the battery out of the phone. There was a morning he proceeds to lay on top of me when I'm trying to get up to go to work. It was all anything to deter me from getting out of bed and going. You know, he wanted me there, even that 7, 8 hours, whatever I was supposed to be gone. As Sean checked off things that I was no longer allowed to do, it became more of a prison type thing. I talked to my mom about getting out.
Mom, I need your help.
Oh, honey.
I would ask Mom once or twice a week, "Hey Mom, can you help me, Mom? I need to go. You need to get me out of here."
This is between you guys. If you want to leave him, just leave.
She wouldn't help. Mom and I were really not all that close.
Okay. Bye, Mom.
It was extremely lonely. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have any friends left. My kids, I don't think at that time they realized how unhappy I really was. There was nowhere to go. I was stuck with Sean. Sean had a fascination with taking pictures of me when I'm hurt. How bad's he gonna hurt me this time? What happens next? This picture would probably be the second year we lived together. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. To look at Sean there, you can see a difference already. When I met him, he had a bright smile, bright eyes, but as the time went on, it was almost like his entire face would change. You could just see a deep darkening, just overall appearance. He's lost the bright kind of there. It's not the same. Sean's moods became very unpredictable. Sean would become angry to a point that it was just almost unbelievable. This one time, I literally had moved a vase from the living room to the dining room. His reaction was like you had done something personal to him.
What the hell are you doing?
What? What are you talking about?
He screamed at me and told me I was stupid for moving the vase. Should have stayed there.
This is my house.
And he stomps into the dining room, and we had two of the older type high back chairs.
Will you calm down?
He proceeds to grab the one and he flings it across. Just because I moved the vase from here to there, we're going to actually throw furniture.
Don't tell me to calm down.
What's going to happen now is he going to come in here? Is he going to, do something? It was that fear of what was his next level. Was it going to become more violent? He twists it around to where everything that's going wrong, everything he's doing, all falls back on me. I did something that caused him to act like that. That it wasn't him, that I started it. After that, I never knew what was going to set him off. It becomes a mental fear that how bad is he going to hurt me this time? What happens next? Do I leave and risk that, or do I stay? This is a picture of me that Sean took after he decided to actually beat on me. I don't even remember why he hit me. But Sean had a fascination with taking pictures of me when I'm hurt, or I was depressed, sad, crying. If he could have a way to record that emotion, the sadness, the fears, the bruises, and so forth, Sean would take pictures. I'm bruised, I'm hurt. He has to have record. Sean basically would tell me that he was the only one that would put up with me. He was very much a master manipulator. Nobody would want to deal with me. Nobody would want to deal with my kids. Everything was my fault. I was stuck with him. And you do start to believe that's what you deserve. That's where you're stuck. There's nowhere else to go. In his eyes, and the way he portrayed it to me, I needed Sean to survive. In reality, he needed me, but at that point in time, he had me convinced I needed him. This would be Halloween the first year we lived here. It's Sean and my son, and they actually had a really good time that year. They were still good together here. But it just almost overnight changed. It went from they were happy together and they did things together to they got on his nerves. He didn't want them around. One day, I come home from work and he's got the kids packed up and get them out. The kids had to go. Their stuff was packed. I was extremely angry. What is the issue? Why are they being sent off? They belong here.
Sean?
What?
I don't understand. What's going on here?
He told me they didn't need to be there. They were in the way causing trouble and they needed to go.
What are you talking about? Go where?
He didn't want anybody there. He wanted me and him.
Taking them to your sister's house.
What? Sean, you can't just send my children away.
To watch the kids, pick up what they packed and go to my sister's house to stay. It was very disturbing.
From now on, it's gonna be just me and you.
There was no other choice, really. If I left Sean, he would threaten to hurt me or people I loved. I stayed with Sean, to keep everybody safe from him, because it became a point of not really knowing what he was capable of. I woke up and found out that Sean had me tied up. Why am I tied up? The paranoia with Sean grew more. The intensity got stronger and stronger. When Sean got to this point of control, I didn't feel like there was anywhere to go. If I leave, what's going to happen? Who's he going to hurt? I decided one day to clean the living room blinds. They were actually really dirty. Get those down, go wash them. Probably took me 5 minutes. I come back and Sean has the living room windows entirely covered with a blanket. I asked Sean, why do we have the windows covered?
Sean, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
Sean, he says, they can see me, they can hear me. People are going to know what I'm doing.
I don't want them seeing me.
Who's them?
I would want to know who they are. when I would ask point blank, who are they? He always referred to people walking up and down the sidewalk. There was no specific person. It was always they.
Sean, there's no one out there.
At first, I thought it was like a mental issue. You know, he was maybe seeing things, hearing things.
Just keep the windows covered.
The next day, I realized things are getting even worse. Doors are closed, they're locked. The windows are closed and locked, covered. He tells me there's no reason for me to be looking out the windows, that there's nothing out there that I need to see. I'm Sean's prisoner. I'm stuck there. I can't leave. I can't go anywhere. I can't call anybody. He becomes like a warden. He tells me what I can and can't do.
This is getting out of hand.
Can't be too safe.
I asked him to leave minimum 2 and 3 times a week. He wasn't going anywhere. There's a morning where, in the process of trying to get up, I can't.
What the hell?
Not physically possible. And my hands and my feet are bound together. Sean had me tied up.
Sean?
He was cold.
This isn't funny, Sean. Get these off of me.
The eyes got dark, the face gets dark, the smile goes away. Then it's just somebody else. You know, it's Sean, but it's somebody else. I've got probably 100 million fears. What possessed him to tie on, like, chains?
Sean, please. Let me go.
He says it's a sexual thing. It's, you know, something he wants to try. But I developed a fear that there was more to it.
Just get them off me. Please.
Fine. You don't like it? You can stay here.
It wasn't a sex act. It was physical harm, basically. And I honestly think, you know, I woke up in time before he could, you know, go any farther. I felt like that had I not woke up or whatever, that it would have hurt me, killed me, that there was more. Things at the house had actually been quite bad. He wouldn't do anything. The dishes weren't done. The house wasn't clean.
Stop telling me how to live in my own house.
I'm like, you've got to go. Either you help me or you leave. And within, it seemed like just a blink of an eye, he was literally on top of me. My hands were over my face. I did this. And then he breaks my hand, you know, blacks my eye and so forth. He's literally got me by the front of my shirt and the back of my pants, trying to drag me into the bathroom. If he would have got me in the bathroom, that's the most sound protective room of the house, that would have been very bad. I don't remember exactly what I had told him, but he lets go. He didn't say anything when he finally quit. He just kind of was like, basically just standing there kind of looking at me. I end up, the broken hand, the black eye, the bruises on my neck, and I'm like, you broke my hand. How am I going to go to work and pay the bills now with a broken hand? And then he's going to take me to the hospital. At that moment, I turn and I head toward the door to leave. I never make it to the door. He attacked me. I ended up a broken hand, black eye, bruises around my neck. We end up at the hospital. Was I safe at home? In my mind I'm screaming, no, it's him. But I knew I couldn't say it. If I would have said right then and there that he was the one that had done that. Honestly, I don't think I would have made it out of the hospital.
All right, Sean, we're going to have you step outside while we get these x-rays taken.
So they want to send Sean out in the hallway. He steps out in the hallway. She closes the door, and I proceed to tell her he did this. She was like, we thought so, but with him being right there, we knew you couldn't tell us. Somebody called the police department. They made the mistake of announcing over the intercom that the police were there. And Sean disappeared. When I go to leave the hospital, the police are like, they recommend, not staying at the house, so on and so forth. We're planning to go stay at my mom's for a few days. The police are in the process of looking for Sean. They go through my house. They go in, they check out bedrooms, bathroom. They don't see him. Next day, I was going to go home and grab a couple other things I needed, and then I was going back to mom's. I wasn't going to stay at home yet. When I got to the house, I honestly did not expect him there due to the fact that windows are all still locked and everything, doors locked. But things don't quite look right. Bathroom doors open, toilet seats up, hammer in the bathroom. It was just an eerie, somebody's been here. And at that moment, I turn and I head toward the door to leave. I never make it to the door. It's Sean.
What did you tell them?
Literally turns into an extremely large, violent fight. He's once again trying to drag me to the bathroom. I honestly thought I would die. But I managed to headbutt him in the nose and bloody his nose. So he let go. Afterwards, get him to try to talk to me because the calmer I can get him, the sooner I would get here. He tells me, I come in, the bedroom window. And he had been in the attic that night when the police were there. He's like, if that policeman would have stepped over, 10 inches, he'd have stepped on me. Then get the knock on the door. That's when the police had finally arrived.
Christina, is everything all right?
Sean tells me, if you tell them I'm here, I will literally bash your head in with this hammer. And I kind of lean out, just my head around the door.
Your neighbors said they heard yelling. Is everything all right?
I'm terrified. If I tell him he's there, he's going to kill me.
Did Sean come back? Are you okay?
And I don't remember what I told him, but it was basically, he's not here. It's just me gathering up things to leave.
No, he's not here.
They told me to be okay, thanks, and they left.
Trust me, Sean.
It took probably 15-20 minutes to convince him that we could pull this off. After the police left the house, I'm thinking of how to go, how to get away. I come up with the plan of help out.
Sean, the cops will be back eventually.
I told him, the police are in the process of looking for you. That you can't get away. I can help you.
I can get you out of here.
How? I tell Sean, I'll meet you over at the woods. I'll drive you to your dad's. I'll get you out of here. Wait for me, and I'll come pick you up.
They'll never even know you were here.
It's crazy.
It took probably 15-20 minutes to convince him we could pull this off.
Trust me, Sean. It'll work.
Okay.
all reality, I'm not going after Sean. I'm just leaving. As Sean was heading across to go to the woods, I called the police department. I told him he'd been there, he'd been in the house, he was there, and I explained a lot of what had happened. He was arrested for domestic violence charges. I'm glad they've got him. He was sentenced actually to 120 days. Days was almost devastating. I went through almost 6 years of hell with Sean. I kind of felt betrayed. I know if he's to get away or they don't keep him, I know then that I'm in trouble. When Sean was in jail, I had filed a protection order to have the no contact, no calls, no letters. Sean, immediately violates the protection order. I start receiving mail at the house, and they involve threats of, once I'm out, I'm going to find you. You won't like what happens. Nobody's going to be happy with what I do. As I read the letters that he's writing to me, I'm terrified. After 30 days, they wanted to do a review to release him. I explained to the judge that letting Sean out would be a large mistake. I had letters from Sean. He said he was going to come back and get me. The judge decides that he was going to deny the review and Sean would serve the entire 6 months. After Sean's in jail, I'm in the driveway. There's neighbors on the other side of the driveway. We are discussing everything that had happened, and a friend of theirs shows up. He was kind of listening to the conversation and proceeds to tell me he was locked up, actually in the same cell with Sean.
Oh my God.
We all kind of stopped and just kind of turned and looked to see what he wanted to say.
Listen, you need to be careful.
He proceeds to tell me that while he's locked up with Sean, that Sean had told him that he would be back to get me for the fact that he's now in jail. When the neighbor talked about Sean coming back, first it's like immediate fear.
I'm sorry, you guys. I gotta go.
I'm thinking, okay, I'm stuck living here. He knows how to get in. I have to do something. I packed up and left. I go on a mission to hide. But knowing what I know of Sean, I know even in hiding, I'm really not safe. Sean would be back. The neighbor that was in the same cell with Sean proceeds to tell me that Sean's coming back to kill me.
Oh my God.
Listen, you need to be careful.
I move, I change my phone number, I change my vehicle, but I'm really not safe. In my head, it was always the fear Sean will be back. Even with hiding, it would just take him a little longer. A couple of years after Sean has been released from jail, a girlfriend of mine calls me. She had just seen Sean.
What? Where is he?
She tells me Sean wants to know where I live. He wants my number. He wants to be able to contact me.
You didn't tell him anything, did you?
Of course not. You know I'd never do that.
She knew what I went through, so she told him she couldn't give him the information, but she would get his phone number and she would give that to me. He tries to talk her into getting into his car. She says that he opened the trunk and there was rope and tape and just other odd things in the trunk, the zip ties and so forth.
Oh my god.
And she said it gave her like a creepy feeling and she wouldn't get in the vehicle with him.
Well, keep an eye out for him, alright?
I will. Thanks.
You know, it wasn't just upsetting. It was a very terrifying feeling to know I'd left him 2 years ago and he was still trying to find me. I'm at work. I'm on break. I'm going through my phone. I have messages on Facebook. Message wants to know if I'm the Christina that dated Sean. It's a news reporter. She had things she needed to discuss with me concerning him and what he had done. He had just been arrested for kidnapping.
911, what is the address to your emergency? By the bus. Who abducted you? Sean, great. Where's he at now? Ashley, I'm in the bedroom with them.
He's kidnapped a woman, tied her up, confined her, raped her for days. She managed to get a hold of his phone and she called for help.
Please hurry. Does he have a weapon? He's got a taser. 911 would be okay.
That's the 911 call from the girl Sean kidnapped, and you know, that led to his arrest. She'd already suffered a tremendous deal of abuse. In however many days he had her, I think it was 2 or 3.
Was he in the same room with you? Yes. I'll be on the way. And we have officers we're sending. Is there any way you can get out of the building? I don't know without waking him, and I'm scared. Can you see if you can get out? I'm not waking him. Is there a window around that you can look out? Yeah, but the floor is clean right by his head. Can you open it? I'm afraid without making noise.
To hear her and know she's there, she needed to get out. You know, there's no doubt she would have been next.
Are you still there? I'm a talker. Do you hear any officers outside? No. Okay, they're in the area. Okay, I can hear them. Do you hear them? Hurry, hurry.
Hurry up, get out. Where are they?
I'm sleeping.
Still sleeping?
Yeah. Okay, they have her.
Once the help arrived and they've got him, it comes out that he has dead women in the house. They had found dead bodies.
Stacy Hicks' body was found under piles of garbage in the basement of the same house where Sean Great was squatting. The naked body of a 29-year-old woman was found in an upstairs closet. Griffith's hands and legs were found tied behind her back.
When I was tied up, was that what he was going to attempt? Would that have ever been me?
Griffith died from a chokehold, just like Sean Great demonstrated when police asked him to show them how he strangled Griffith. It would take 3 to 5 minutes of maintaining a chokehold to kill someone.
There's these 2 women. There's the one he kidnapped. It had been 6 years since I'd seen him, so then I'm thinking, how many other people? How many other women? Who else has he hurt?
Investigators say suspected serial killer Sean Great confessed to killing 5 women, but said he didn't remember the name of his first victim, a young woman selling magazines in Marion County.
Learning that I had helped clean up, his first crime, it was he killed somebody and I helped clean it up. I'm going to jail. Yeah, I helped clean up this mess. I'm going to jail. Sean needs to be punished for what he's done. Sean needs to die. These are pictures of, the women Sean actually admits to murdering. They didn't do anything to deserve anything that happened to them. They didn't deserve to be killed by Sean. My own personal opinion, I honestly believe that I believe there's more. I don't believe it stopped at 5. I could have been one of the women he killed. I could have very well been in that lineup. This picture of Sean shortly after they had arrested him. In a creepy way, he's almost happy. It's actually quite disturbing. Was he happy he got caught? Was he happy he'd done what he'd done? On the day that they arrested Sean, at first I was kind of like, no, he's evil, but he didn't do this. Then it didn't take long. In all honesty, it was a matter of minutes. Kind of dawned on me that, yeah, Sean's evil enough to do that. When people think evil, they have a whole different idea. He was his own kind of evil. That picture, that kind of sums up him. That's Sean being Sean. That's him at being evil. The little smirk, it's just Sean.
I did find out I'm abducted her.
You abducted her? Yeah. Explain that. You just wanted to make sure she didn't get away because you wanted her?
No. What explains when her to relax and spend some time with me? Well, it's kind of hard for somebody to relax if you're dying down, don't you think?
Intentions with her, they would have been, much more severe.
You talked about you abducted her. You've had sex with her against her will, too. Yes or no?
Yes.
What do you call that?
Rape.
To hear him admit everything, there's an awful lot I think about. And knowing what I went through with him, he had me tied up. If I wouldn't have woke up and caught him, I would have been dead. That's a picture during the first trial. Sean's entire look has completely changed. He's got the vest, he's got the guard to make sure nobody comes to get even with him for what he's done. When Sean's trial and everything happened, I wasn't involved, but I was very concerned with what his sentence is. I watched TV, I read everything that come across Facebook, I would Google his name and see what news article would come up. I not only needed, but wanted to know everything. I needed all the details I could get.
The court therefore finds that a sentence of death by legal injection shall be imposed upon Mr. Great for the aggravated murder of Elizabeth Griffith, and a sentence of death by lethal injection shall be imposed on Mr. Great for the aggravated murder of Stacy J. Hicks, a.k.a. Stacy J. Stanley.
Sean needs to die. And to me, Sean needs to die the way he killed them. For what he done to me, for what he's done to, the women before me, the women after me, the women he's killed, for everything he's done to anybody and everybody. Sean needs to die. I keep my attic doors locked. I don't sleep at night, very rarely. I have these nightmares that he's going to wake me up and coming from underneath the bed. So I no longer have a bed frame. I sleep on mattress and box spring on the floor. I don't even have clothes in my room. It scares the hell out of me. It's been 10 years almost. And it does. It still literally scares me that I'll wake up one day and he's going to be right there. Thinking about everything he's done, it kind of comes down to, if I tell people what has happened, what I've learned, what I dealt with him, I believe that if they can use that information to get out and end their pain, then reliving and remembering everything I've been through it's a big help. I think and hope that people learn that they can get away. It's definitely not an easy process, but life can go on. You can continue, you can get past it, and you don't have to stay there and relive it all the time.